This is Lila, and this is Ask Me Anything Vedic Astrology. Today we're going to be going over the chart of the United States. This is a Vedic astrology chart. All Vedic astrology charts have 12 houses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The 4 in the first house means that the United States was born with Cancer rising. Cancer is owned by the moon, a very public planet, a very wealthy planet. It's a very changeable planet. It's seated, exalted, because moon is always exalted in Taurus, in the 11th house of gains and income. Moon is being aspected by both Jupiter and Mars. Any planet will aspect another planet that is within 5 degrees left to right of it, if it's across the street. I call this across the street, 7 houses away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have Moon 7 houses away from Jupiter. Jupiter owns Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the 9th sign placed in the 6th house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 9th sign, 6th house, owned by Jupiter. The 6th house is the house of war, violence, fire, theft, vandalism, ill health, disease, litigation, and arguments. So we have Moon, the planet of the very self of the United States, being aspected by Jupiter, planet of war. Additionally, it is aspected by Mars. Mars is the commander-in-chief planet. It is the military planet. It owns Aries. Aries is the 10th house, house of career, in the Vedic astrology chart of the United States of America. So we have Mars owning career and Jupiter owning violence and war, both aspecting Moon, which is very well seated, exalted in the house of income. So what we have is a country that makes its income off of promoting war, makes income off the military industrial complex. That's the background. Another note about the chart of the United States. My professor's professor told me once when discussing a completely different chart that the owner of the 4th seated in the 6th, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 4th house. It's the house of domestic peace and happiness. In the chart of a nation, it is the house of communal harmony. So Venus, owning communal harmony for the United States, is seated in the 6th house of war. This gives rise to constant and completely avoidable arguments. Conversely, the owner of the 6th house seated in the 4th, owner of the 4th house seated in the 6th, same thing, constant and completely avoidable arguments. I can think of very few things that would more aptly describe our congressional members and our government. Constant and completely avoidable arguments. Going back to the chart of the United States, what we're going to see soon is a transit that rarely happens. What we've been having since last March, approximately last March, and going to next March for 1 full year, is Jupiter aspecting Saturn. These are where the planets were when the United States was born. This outside ring is where the planets are in transit. There's roaming around the zodiac like cars bumping into each other. So we have natal Jupiter, which aspects 5, 7, and 9 houses away, aspecting transit Saturn. Now, Saturn never gets more than 7 degrees into the 9th house, Pisces here, for the entire year. And when it is from 0 to 7 degrees, it is under the aspect of natal Jupiter. Natal Jupiter, this is the natal planets, is at 4 degrees. Transit Saturn here is at 2 degrees, and it's moving back and forth a little bit. But from last March, meaning March 2025 until approximately April 1st, 2026, Jupiter is going to be aspecting Saturn. Jupiter owns the house of war, arguments, debt, fire, theft, vandalism, explosions. It will be aspecting Saturn. Saturn is the house of death, death-like experience, strong obstacles, fatal accidents. It reminds me of the question circulating in the 1960s. What happens when an unstoppable force hits an immovable object? And the answer was friction. This is what I call a nitroglycerin aspect. One move and you're done. This is truly a nuclear aspect. So this goes on for 1 year. Imagine if somebody stepped on your foot. You would think that they'd immediately stop and then apologize. But let's say they stepped on it for a minute, for an hour, for a day, for a week. You would be screaming. This is the effect of Jupiter aspecting Saturn for an entire year. The 8th house is also the house of vulnerabilities, the elderly, the poor, and the disenfranchised. So what we have is the planet of war aspecting the planet of death, death-like experiences, sudden accidents, the vulnerable, the needy, the poor, the elderly, and the disenfranchised. This is a very, very, very pernicious aspect. What makes it more pernicious is that from approximately the 19th of October through about the 15th of December, we have transit Jupiter. Remember, this is natal Jupiter. This is transit Jupiter, where Jupiter is these days, is going to be aspecting transit Saturn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Jupiter aspects 5, 7, and 9 houses away. Any planet that is 5 degrees to the left or right of it. And we have Saturn very close to Jupiter from October 19th, starting a little bit before. It's going to start in the next couple days and going till at least the 15th of December. The full-on aspect is the 19th of October through, I think, the 15th of December. Full-on 100% aspect. This is absolutely explosive. This is what I would call a nuclear aspect. We are going to see explosions. Where are we going to see explosions? Well, we'll go into that in a little. We're going to be seeing weather effects. It's not only it's explosions between people, it's explosions in nations, it's explosions as in gunfire, it's explosions as in volcano, storms, things of that nature. So we should be looking for explosive weather phenomena. Umberto could mingle with another storm to create rare Fujiwara aspect. It could produce a Fujiwara, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, effect, a rare phenomena in which 2 different storms merge and become entangled around a newly formed common center. This is something to look out for. This could turn into the storm of the century. This is a very, very dangerous phenomena. I would look for this storm to become much larger than people think it is. It may be so large that we have to call out FEMA, and if the government shuts down, it's going to create more arguments because the ability to call in FEMA is going to be severely compromised. So I would be looking for huge weather events. We'd be looking for just not continuation of war, but nuclear explosion type war. Ukraine's president says the world is in the most destructive arms race in history, and international law can't help nations survive. Since Russia invaded Ukraine, Zelensky said weapons and especially drones are evolving faster than our ability to defend ourselves. While drones previously were used by major countries, now there are tens of thousands of people who know how to professionally kill using drones. I would look for an upsurge in this. And Last but not least, we have President Donald Trump and Democrats emerge from a private White House meeting on September 29th with an agreement to keep the federal government open an agreement to keep the federal government open, setting up the prospects of a wide-scale shutdown in major services beginning in about 30 hours. Today is the 29th. I would say in all likelihood, we will start to see a shutdown on October 1st, and that this shutdown will stem from around the 15th until the 19th until the 15th of December. It doesn't come on. It starts, it begins, and then it strengthens, and then it crescendos, and then it moves off. This does not move off, this aspect, from its most pernicious point until mid-December. I also believe that there may be a collapse of the stock exchange. We're talking not a recession, but a 1929 type depression. The international economy can only take so much change and so much instability. Prosperous economies like stability, and they like knowing what is coming their way. They do not like uncertainty. So going back here we have here, okay. Now the Cancer rising chart does not confine itself just to the United States. The European Union also has a Cancer rising chart. And this transit aspect of Jupiter, owner of the 6th, aspecting Saturn, owner of the 8th, will also apply to the European Union. I would look for the European Union to blow sky high. I'm not sure exactly what form it will take. There will be, of course, an increase in war. And I would look for both in the United States and across the European Union, as both of them are Cancer rising. I would think that there would be a potential collapse of the stock market. There would be a threat of nuclear war. Certainly, that would be in the consciousness of the people. Whenever people get a whiff of something that disastrous, the grocery stores are cleaned out. So I would advise everyone listening to this video to get 3 months of water, 3 months of non-perishable food, because even if nuclear war does not happen, just the threat, just the thought, just the suggestion of nuclear war, and those grocery stores will be cleaned out. So please protect yourselves. And if you can't get 3 months, stock up with 1 month. I hear human beings need 1 gallon of water a day. Get yourself water, get yourself non-perishables, and let's see if we can ride this storm. I would think that there would be riots. There would be looting. There are going to be very explosive events happening as the 6th house, the owner of which is aspecting the owner of the 8th house, which is death-like experience, calamities, sudden accidents. What we're going to be seeing is fire, theft, vandalism, war, arguments, disagreements, litigation, and illness. The planet owning these less than desirable aspects is going to be aspecting the planet of obstacles, death, and death-like experiences. This is a very, very, very pernicious aspect about which I cannot warn strongly enough. So that is what I have for you today. My name is Lila. This is Ask Me Anything, Vedic Astrology. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.